symptoms, and I was like, oh, I was getting older. And I had a great opportunity to move to New York City, and about 3 months after getting to New York City, I was exhausted all the time, and I was like, well, this must be life in the big city as an older person. And then I started getting these really different symptoms. I was really swollen, I was puffy, it was bizarre. Like, at the end of the day, if I was wearing pants, like literally like the seam would be like embedded into my skin, and I was like, what is going on here? And I wasn't just tired, I was exhausted. I would go get home and go to bed at 8 o'clock. And normally I used to pride myself on being able to, get to function on 4 hours of sleep. And then this was the real kicker for me. My hair started to get really, really thin, and I'm just gonna be really honest with you. I'm a woman, I'm in the cosmetic industry, I'm vain. So really by the time the hair started, I was like, this is not normal. So again, I Googled it, Googled everything. I didn't see anything about my thyroid, so I just assumed I was at a certain age, I'm a woman, it must be menopause. So I called my gynecologist and I called her, like, look, I have all these symptoms, and she said, come down, make an appointment. And she said, honestly, Julie, she said, I think that it's a thyroid. And she said, does anyone in your family have thyroid? I said, no. I said, I don't even know what my thyroid is. And she did the test, and I'm incredibly grateful for the people who've been put in my life during this journey, because she said your thyroid levels are very, very low. Not very low. She's like, they're low. She said, this is where you need to be your advocate. She said, because sometimes doctors don't really pay attention to this. And I didn't know what she meant. She said, so be your own advocate. So I went to my primary care doctor, and they immediately put me on levothyroxine. So I was like, great, we have the problem, we have the solution. I'm done. So I was on the medicine for about 3 months, and I went back to get my blood work done, and they're like, yep, everything is normal. I mean, it is like textbook case of what Dr. Warner has taken through on the slideshow, and I said, but you know what, I'm actually feeling worse, I'm gaining more weight, my hair is really falling out, like in clumps in the shower. I mean, I would get out of the shower in the morning, and I would be in tears in the mirror, and it's like, what is happening? So I gave her what my original doctor said, be my best advocate. So I'm like, okay, I need a specialist. I'm going to an endocrinologist. So I do all my research, and I find this highly recommended endocrinologist, and I go to her office and I say, I have this low thyroid, what can you help me? And she said, yes, of course, and looked at it, she said, oh, we're gonna raise your medication. So I'm like, great, I was just on the wrong dosage. This is great, good, problem solved. So I'm on the new level. For again, 3 months I have to go back. So in the meantime, I start Googling, and I see this Hashimotos, and I think, oh God, I don't care about this low thyroid thing, I just don't want this Hashimotos thing, because this is not good, because the symptoms are not great. So I go back and we test my blood again, and she said, how are you feeling? And I said, honestly, not that much better. I haven't lost any weight, and by this time I've gotten a personal trainer. I'm at the gym at 5 o'clock in the morning, 2 to 3 times a week. I'm exercising like crazy. And I said to her, what do I need to do? Because if there's certain foods, should I go gluten-free? Because if there's things that I need to do, I'm going to do them. So if there's something I shouldn't eat, tell me I won't eat it. If there's something I should eat, tell me I'm going to go buy it in bulk. I'm like, whatever, I'm going to do this. She's like, yeah, no, we don't really do that here. And I said, what do you mean you don't do that here? She said, we test your blood every 3 months, and then we regulate your medication. And I said, that's it? And she said, yes. And I said, okay. And I said, well, I don't know that that's enough for me. And she said, well, that's what we do here. She's like, and any doctor on this row in our office does that. So I said, ooh, okay. And then literally, no joke, as I'm leaving, she's like, oh, by the way, you actually have Hashimotos. So I said, what does that mean? She's like, that's an autoimmune disease. So literally, and I kid you not, she's like, so you're attacking your own system. So that's probably not the best thing. Okay, schedule your next appointment. We'll see you in 3 months. So at that point, now I'm in the car and I'm in tears. And I said, well, what about all these symptoms? When is it going to level out? And she said, really, it kind of pings all over your body, so you never know what's going to happen. So we just need to keep seeing you, keep testing the blood, and working on the medication. And you're going to be on medication for the rest of your life. So my whole life, I've never been on medication. Now I'm going to be on medication for the rest of my life. And my hair is still coming out in clumps. And it got to the point where I couldn't do my job in New York. I was too tired. It was just awful. So I moved back to DC. And the first thing that I did when I got back here was I started Googling for, Hashimotos, what can I do? And Dr. Wander's name popped up, and I called the office, and I begged to come in. And I remember my first meeting with Dr. Wander, and the emotion that I had stronger than anything else was hope. Like the complete understanding of I'm not crazy, these symptoms are real, people sharing this, and the problem with Hashimotos is, and I'm sure you all know this, you look okay. You look perfectly fine. So it's like, if you want to call in sick to work, you don't look sick, but you are sick. And it was such a mental challenge for me because I'm looking and I'm like, I don't look sick. I don't want to be sick. I want to do all these things, and my body was working against me. So my mind was not helping myself. So I met with Dr. Wander, and I think I begged to please, whatever it takes. And he's like, well, how willing are you? And I'm like, I'm as willing, whatever it takes, because I can't live like this. I just didn't, it was no quality of life. So I went through the extensive testing, and I will tell you, Dr. Wander does not pull any punches. He's very transparent. It is extensive testing, and it was fabulous. It was very, very eye-opening, because again, endocrinologists and my PCP, they did was the T3 and the T4. So we did this extensive testing and started different supplements and different diets. And it's amazing to me, the world of difference. I don't hit the snooze button anymore. Well, sometimes I do, but that's just because I'm choosing to do it, not because my body says you don't want to get out of bed. But it's funny because I really had to change all of my eating. And I'm so glad that I did, because I was literally eating all of the wrong things, and I had no idea. Nobody had ever said, I met with a doctor, I met with an endocrinologist, and nobody said, you should really take a look at these different things. So Dr. Wander really worked with me on what we need to do and what foods to eat, and it's been an incredible journey. I will tell you, I love the story. The first, I think it was 30 days, and we did the whole detox part. You have to be really, really good. And I was really good, except for one time I ate some ice cream. And I ruined it because I was guilty. So I was like, I have to go see Dr. Wander on Monday night to tell him about this. So I go for my regular appointment. I'm like, I just have to tell you right now before we do anything else. I said, I ate ice cream. And he's like, how do you feel? I said, so guilty. And he's like, no, Julie. He's like, how did you feel physically? And I said, oh, I felt awful. And it was amazing, but it was, I don't recommend that for everybody, but it really was so amazing because I had been doing such good, clean eating for so long that it didn't satisfy me emotionally anymore, and I felt the difference, and it was that amazing feeling. So the journey has not always been easy, but it has been worth every minute of it. My hair is growing back, it's getting stronger. My weight has been much, much more manageable. And again, my energy, and I think that to me is the most important thing. Energy has been just a godsend. And the symptoms, and it's funny because I'm still kind of playing around with different foods and gluten and not gluten, and I can tell different things, and I have constant contact with Dr. Wander, so it's interesting really getting to know what works and what doesn't and sticking with that. So I cannot thank Dr. Wander and the staff enough for literally, my life has changed. This is a life-changing process, and it is for the rest of my life. One day at a time, but it is absolutely incredible. I am so glad that I moved down here. I don't miss my job in New York City. I can't imagine what my life would have been like if I hadn't found him, if I hadn't started this new journey. It has been, it saved my life and my sanity. So I wish you all the very, very best.